to share with you today. It's also a story about optimism or pessimism. And I'm going to tell the story. Oh, by the way, I should say hello. There's some more people have joined us. Hello, Rita. Hello, Rita.
Hi.
Good to see you. And who are you with?
Say hi. Hi.
Is this your daughter?
Yeah, she's
your,
Farah.
What's your name?
What's your name? Farah. So Farah means happiness in Arabic.
Farah. Nice to meet
So
you.
it matches the theme of optimism and joy.
Wonderful, wonderful. And hello, and you're in Palestine. Are you in Gaza?
Yeah.
In Gaza. And there's Kunwas, Suvam there. Hello, Suvam. Nice to see you again from Nepal.
Hello, sir.
And I can see Rivan is here as well from Nepal. So I think I've said hello to everybody now. Is there anybody I didn't say hello to? Oh, good. Great. Today's story, it comes from Afghanistan. It's a story that is told in many countries, but the version I'm going to tell you is similar to a version they tell here in Afghanistan. But it's also a story told in other parts of Asia. I'm not going to tell you the title of the story, because if I told you the title, I would be giving you too much information. In the story, there are a number of different characters. Now, if you pin me on your screen, if you know how to do that, you go up to the top right of the box where you can see me, and you can pin me, then I will become I will be big in your screen. Or you could put it on speaker view on Zoom.
Yes, I'm on speaker.
I just need to.
Okay. So can I ask everybody, I'm just going to mute everybody except me, okay, while I show you some information, okay. Great. So here we are. I'm going to give you some information. There's a king in this story. There's a beggar in the story, and you know, a beggar is a person who has no home and no money and lives in the street saying, please give me money. So there's a beggar. But the interesting thing about this story is the king and the beggar are the same person. The king puts on the clothes of a beggar. So it's not a real beggar. The beggar is in disguise. Then we've got a cobbler. Could everybody say it? I don't need to hear you, but you can say it anyway. Can you repeat? Beggar.
Cobbler. Beggar.
Cobbler.
Cobbler.
Great. Okay. Cobbler is a person who, does anybody know? A person who mends your shoes. If you have a problem with your shoe, go to the cobbler and they will fix your shoes, or maybe make shoes. So cobbler is the same as a shoemaker. Okay. Then we've got a wood carrier. So a wood carrier is a person who carries wood. Maybe wood for the fire, wood that has been chopped in the forest. The wood carrier might carry the wood into the city. Then we've got the guard. The guard works for the king. You're right, to protect the king. The guard, his job is to defend, to protect the king. Then we have a money lender. Can everybody say after me? Wood carrier. Good.
Wood carrier.
Could you say guard?
Guard.
Thank you. And could you say money lender?
Money
lender.
Money lender.
So the money lender is a person who lends money, but they only lend the money for a short time, and then they ask for the money back. So they can make interest on the money. So a money lender makes money by maybe you have something of great value, like a ring on your finger, and you give the ring to the moneylender, and the moneylender gives you some money. And then later, when you have enough money, you can get the ring back again. So that's also like a pawnbroker. In this story, the moneylender is also like a pawnbroker. So they give you money for a short time. These are the people in the story. Okay, these are the people in the story. But I told you that the king and the beggar are the same person, but also the guard and the cobbler are also the same person. Yeah, you will see. Okay. Also in this story, there's a sword. Could you repeat, everybody? Can you say it? Sword.
Sword.
Yeah.
Sword.
Do you know a sword is a weapon?
Yes.
Who
Yeah.
has the sword in the story, do you think?
Guard.
Yes, the guard.
God.
And what is the sword made of?
Sword
I
is made of
Maybe.
the
Maybe
metal.
iron or steel, some
Metal.
kind of metal. Good.
Metal.
Metal.
Now, there's a
It's
very important phrase in this story, and it goes like this. Can you see? I have faith. All will be well. Everybody, can we say it together? I have faith.
Faith.
All will be well.
well.
All right, I'm going to take it away. Can you remember it, everybody? Let's say it. I have
I have faith.
all
Will
will
be
be
well.
I have faith means I believe. I believe. I trust. All will be well. Now, the person who says this, I have faith, all will be well, are they an optimist or a pessimist? Optimist, of course. Okay, so let's just see what I can do here. Okay, can you look in the chat? And all of those words are here. Can you see? Yes, in the chat, you've got the king, beggar, cobbler, wood carrier, guard, moneylender. Those are the characters. And then the sword and that phrase, I have faith, all will be well. Okay, this is a big story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the story, but I'm going to stop before the end of the story. And then I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. So you're going to be together with another person, just two people together. And I'm going to ask you to imagine the end of the story. Now, before I begin, put up your hand like this if you have a question for me. If there's anything you want to ask me, if there's anything you don't understand. Put your hand up like this.
I wanted to ask something.
Anka. Good.
Yes, me. I wanted to ask you something about you. Not
No.
about the story.
No, I don't want questions about me. Only questions about the story, Anka. Maybe later, okay? Maybe later. But
Okay.
ask me a question, anything about this information that I gave you. Does anybody have a question?
Me.
Alan. Oh, no, I can't remember your name now.
Muhammad.
Mahama. Okay.
Yeah. Who's the villain in this story?
Ah, good question. Good question. I'm not going to tell you. You have to listen to the story and find out. I like that question. Does anybody else have a question?
Me.
All right. In that case, I'm going to begin. When I say story, you can say, tell us a story. And that means I know that you are listening. You are joining in the story with me. So I'm just going to unmute everybody for a moment. So you can all say, I'll say story, you say tell us a story. Okay, story.
Tell us a story.
A bit louder, please, so the whole of the world can hear. Story.
Tell us a
Story.
Thank you. Once there was a king, a powerful king. But this king was not happy. This king was frightened about what might happen. Perhaps my people will fight against me. Perhaps they will take away my crown. Maybe there will be a war. Perhaps there will be a plague. Oh no! The king was very pessimistic about the future. The king wanted to know what his people were thinking. So the king put on a disguise. He put on a coat of rags and he pretended to be a beggar. That evening, the king went into the city. He wanted to know what his people were saying. There, at the end of the day, as it was getting dark, the king saw a very poor man, a cobbler. The cobbler was sitting in the street, fixing shoes. But the king noticed the cobbler seemed so happy. The cobbler always laughed and said, "I have faith, all will be well. I have faith, all will be well." Can you say it? I have faith, all will be well. The king thought, why is this poor man so happy? When the cobbler put away his equipment, his needle and his thread, the king followed the cobbler to a baker shop, and the cobbler bought a small loaf of bread. And then the king, dressed as a beggar, followed the cobbler to his small home. It was just a hovel, very small. When the cobbler had gone inside, the king knocked at the door. The cobbler opened it, smiling. "Welcome, my friend. You must be hungry. Come in my home. I will give you some food." And the cobbler sat the king down. He thought this was a beggar. He broke his loaf of bread in half, and he gave the bigger half to the seeming beggar. "Eat, eat, my friend." The king ate the bread, and the king said, "Tell me, your home is very small. You have no shop. You are poor. You have so little. Why are you so happy?" And the poor cobbler said, "I have faith, all will be well." Can you say it? I have faith, all will be well.
I have faith all will be well.
Well, the king left the cobbler and went back to his palace. And all the time the king was thinking, how can this man be so optimistic? This can't be right. I'm going to test him tomorrow. And the king made a new law. He decreed that nobody could work as a cobbler in the streets of his city. The next evening, the king came back to the small house where the cobbler lived. The king was again dressed as a beggar. He knocked at the door, and the door opened, and there was the cobbler, smiling. "You are back, my friend. Come in my house. I have food for you. You must be hungry. I have bread and I have fruit." The king, looking like a beggar, sat down and began to eat. "How have you got this?" said the king. "I heard that there was a new law that no cobbler could work in the streets of the city." "It's true," said the cobbler. I didn't know what to do. I needed money to buy food. But then I saw that there was a very hard-working wood carrier. And I followed him. I asked him if he needed some help. I helped him to carry his wood, and he said, "You're a strong man, you can help me, and I will pay you." So all day long, I've been carrying wood with that very kind wood carrier, and he paid me, and with the money, I bought the bread and the fruit, and I'm sharing it with you. Well, the king left. And as he went back to the palace, he thought, this man is so happy, it's so optimistic. I will test him again. So the next day he made a new law. Maybe you can guess the law. The new law said nobody can carry wood in my city. The next evening, when the king came to the poor cobbler's house, the king was sure that he would find an unhappy man. But do you think this cobbler was unhappy? Happy or unhappy? You think he's going to be happy?
Happy.
Okay, let's find out. The king knocked on the door. The door opened. Oh, welcome, welcome, my friend. Oh, I'm so glad you're here because I have bread for you, I have fruit for you, and I have wine for you to drink. What? Said the king, who was dressed as a beggar. The king came in and drank the wine and ate the food and said, I heard that the king said there could be no wood carriers in the city. How have you got all of this food? Oh, it's true. You know everything, said the cobbler. Well, I couldn't work as a wood carrier, so I asked if I could work as a guard for the king. They said they needed more guards because of all of the new laws. So now I am a guard. And at the end of the day, I got paid. And so I bought all of this food and wine. It's a good move. I have faith. All will be well. Can you say it? I have faith. All will be well. The king went away. This man seems to find a solution to every problem. I know. I will make a new law that my guards will not be paid, and for a whole month. Then he won't have any money to buy food. So that was the law that the king made the next day. And the next evening, the king returned to the small hovel, dressed as a beggar, and knocked at the door. Well, the door opened. Oh, welcome, 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 my friend. I have bread, I have fruit, I have wine, and I have chocolate for you. Come in, my friend. Well, the king was amazed. He came in and sat down and ate the delicious food, and the chocolate was of high quality. Delicious. How did you get the money for all of this? Said the king. I heard that there was a new law that no guard would be paid for a whole month. You know everything, said the cobbler. It's true. I found out at the end of the day that I couldn't get any money. But then I had an idea. Now, please, my friend, don't tell anybody else what I did. I was given a sword as part of my equipment to guard the king. But I thought, well, I will never need my sword. I keep my sword inside my belt. So at the end of the day, I went to my neighbor, the moneylender. And the moneylender is looking after the sword until the end of the month. Then I can pay him and get it back. Then he gave me some money, and with the money, I bought this food and chocolate. I knew you were coming, my friend. And one more thing. The king said, Wait. You gave the king's guard's sword to a moneylender? That means you don't have a sword. It's true. I have made a new sword. I have made a sword out of wood. A wooden sword. I have faith. All will be well. I have faith. All will be well. Well, the king couldn't believe what he was hearing. I bet you can imagine what happened. The next day, the king came into the center of the city himself. He came with the wood carrier. He marched right up to where that cobbler was standing guard. The king looked at him in the eye and said, "This wood carrier, I caught him today. He was carrying wood in the city. He was breaking the law. He must die. You, guard," and he was looking at the cobbler, "you must cut off his head." The cobbler looked at the king. The cobbler looked at the wood carrier, the kind wood carrier who had helped him and given him work and money. If you don't cut off his head," said the king, "you will die." Is that the end of the story? Is that the end of the story? Yes or no?
No.
No, it's not the end of the story.
No.
I'm just going to unmute you all. But we're nearly at the end of the story. We're nearly at the end of the story. At the end of the story, only two characters are speaking. The king and the cobbler. Okay, the wood carrier doesn't speak. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the students who've got their video switched off, if you can, Omar, Rashid, Santiago, Suditi and Omar, please switch on your camera now, if you can. Okay, and I'm going to put everybody into breakout rooms. Okay, so you are going to be with one other person in a breakout room. Some of you might be with a teacher, if you're lucky. And when you're in your breakout room, one person is going to just be the king. And the other person is going to be the cobbler, who's the guard. And in his belt, he has a wooden sword. And the king is going to say, "You must cut off the wood carrier's head." Then I want you to continue speaking, and you are going to imagine the conversation between those two characters. You're going to make it up. They're going to talk together for about, more than 1 minute in your ending. They got more than 1 minute of speaking together. And you're going to make that up. I'm going to put you in the breakout room for about 5 minutes. And you can practice that conversation with your partner. What do you think the king will say? What will the cobbler say? What will happen? Will the king what will the king do? What will the cobbler do? Will the cobbler take out his sword? Will the cobbler kill the woodcutter? Will the cobbler talk to the king? What will the cobbler do? And how will the story finish? All of it is you're going to do it by talking as those two characters in the story. And then after 5 minutes, we're all going to come together again. And some of you can show us how you think the story finishes. That's quite a lot to ask you to do. So before we go into breakout rooms, put your hand up if you would like to ask me a question about what to do. Who doesn't understand?
Ask, can we talk to a partner? How can we end the story together, the mate?
Yes, Anka, you can talk together with your partner about what happens, but I'd like you to do it by acting. So rather than your Anka talking about it, Anka, maybe you're the king, or maybe you're the cobbler, and the other person in your breakout room is the other character. So together you're going to speak as those two characters. So you don't need to plan it. You're going to improvise. This is called improvised drama. Okay? I know you can do it because you're so bright and intelligent and full of ideas. So let's
Thank you. I'm so sorry because my friends are calling me, and I told them I have this class kind of radiation, and they are calling me, and I really hate that when I pull out the red.
Anka, are you staying with us?
Yes, I'm staying, but just my friends are calling me, and
that's okay. Just ask your friends to say you'll speak to them later then. Okay, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and I'm going to put you into your 18 people. I'm going to put you into 9 rooms. If you find you've got a problem in your room, just you can send me a message from your room, or you can come back to the main room. Okay, but you can send me a message from your room. Okay, you've got about 5 minutes. Okay, remember the king.
Okay.
You have to cut off the wood carrier's head. That's how you start. Okay, so join the room now, please. You can join your room now. Fiona, would you like to join your partner?
Waiting for the others.
Yeah, we're just waiting for everybody to come back to the main room now.
Yeah. I think they also accidentally left.
No, I invited them to come back, so that's good.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Wow, I visited some rooms, but I didn't have time to visit everybody. But it was wonderful. There were so many creative ideas, and I think there were some different endings. So I'm going to tell you the end of the story, but before I tell you the end of the story they tell in Afghanistan, I would like to hear your endings, or some of your endings. Let's hear some different ideas. So is there one pair who would like to show us, or so we can listen to the king and the cobbler talking? Who would like to? Put your hand up if you would like to. Come on, everybody says yes, we want to. Okay, Anka, who was your partner?
My partner was Wook.
Vuk. And Vuk, would you like to?
Yeah.
Vuk, are you the king or the cobbler?
King.
Okay, Vuk is the king and Anka is the cobbler. So let's listen to their ending. Okay, get ready to listen, and you can begin now.
Okay.
What are you doing? Chop that head off.
But my king, isn't that too much?
You need it, or I kill you.
But my king, why? Killing people is wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna say you.
What you're gonna say to me? I don't understand.
All of this, all what's just a test.
Test? What?
Yeah,
I am beggar. I am him.
You're the beggar who did come to my house?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Why did you do that, all of that?
I disguise as a beggar to see what people think about me. And I see you happy, but you hasn't got money. And I want to see what are you doing now. I can give you a big house, a food, a money. What do you want?
I don't want nothing of that, my king. I'm happy the way I live. I like helping people. Just love my life the way it is. Just like I told you before, I have faith. All will be well. If you have faith and if you believe in yourself, everything will be just fine, and everything will be just if you want, just the way you want.
Yeah, but I think you want to change rules.
Yes, of course. King, please remove all that laws and rules.
Yeah, that'll be just a part of the test. Yeah, now you can go, wood carrier.
Thank you so much, my king. I
welcome.
really don't like killing people. I mean, I didn't any time kill any man or any woman, but it's just wrong. I just couldn't do that.
Wow. Anka and Vuk, I think we're going to, I think you finished. That was absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. What did you think about their ending? What did you think, everybody? Yeah, fantastic.
Thank you.
So at the end, the king said it was all a test and you can go free and you can have a big house, a lot of money. I don't need it. I'm happy the way I am, said the beggar, said the cobbler. Wonderful.
Just like in our story.
Who had a similar ending to Vuk and Anka? Put your thumb up like this if your ending was similar. Ah, okay. Who had a different ending with their partner, with a different ending? Azra? Azra, Azra, can you unmute yourself?
Oh, there you
Yes,
go.
that's right. Azra, who was your partner?
As I said.
Was it Revan?
Yes.
Revan, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Can you switch on your video, Revan, or not?
Okay, I can, but I'm having internet issues.
Okay, if it's difficult, you could have the camera off. But would you like to act out your ending, Revan and Azra? Who's the king?
Okay, we can. If she is okay with that.
Yes.
Azra, who is the king?
Well, we were just talking, like then the story.
Okay, so I'd like you to act it out. So Azra, you're the king.
Okay.
And Revan, you are the cobbler. Okay, everybody listen. Okay, and Revan, you can do it with the camera switched off, no problem. Okay, so you can begin. Everybody listen and action.
Cobbler, you need to cut off his head.
Oh dear king, I cannot cut the head of my dear friend. He had lent me money and then he gave me work as well. So I cannot cut his head off. So instead of him, you can kill me instead.
But I cannot do that. I will let you free. I cannot do that.
Oh really?
Yes.
Thank you, my king.
You're welcome.
Is that the end?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes,
wonderful.
hours are short.
Thank you very much. Well done. Well done. Beautiful. It was so clear. Your English was wonderful.
Thank you.
If your ending is similar to Azran and Rivan, put your thumb up. If your ending is similar. Ah, not this, yeah. Oh, yours was similar, Fiona, yeah? And Elizabeth, okay. All right, well, if there's one more pair who would like to show us, there's just enough time. Is there one more pair who would like to show us their ending? Okay, in that case, I'm going to tell you the ending. Now I'm going to unmute everybody, if I can remember how to do it.
I think we can unmute ourselves.
All right, you can unmute yourselves. Okay,
Yeah.
please unmute yourself, because I need to know that you're ready. So if I say story, story, you say tell us a story, and then I'll tell you the ending. And you can see if your ending is the same as the ending from Afghanistan. So story, story.
Tell us
Tell
the
us
story.
The story.
Everybody, story, story.
We want to hear the story.
Well, the king came into the square outside the palace, and there stood his guard, who he knew was the cobbler. And the king had with him the wood carrier. "This man has broken the law," said the king. "You, guard, take out your sword and cut off his head." Oh, I cannot, said the cobbler. "I can't do that, king. I can't kill another man. If you don't kill that wood carrier, you will be killed." Well, the cobbler looked at that wood carrier, his friend who had helped him to get work, his friend who had helped him to live, who had given him money so he could buy bread and fruit. Then he had an idea. "Oh, king, oh, great king," he said. Now, many people had gathered around. So many people wanted to see what would happen. "Oh, great king, I feel that this man, his life is of great value. I think only God can decide if he should be killed or not. I ask God, if this man should die, then when I take out my sword, I will cut off his head. But if God says that this man should live, may God turn my sword into wood." And with that, he drew out his sword, and there he stood with a sword made of wood. And the people were amazed. "The sword has changed to wood." "Set the wood carrier free," called the people. "Set him free! Set him free!" Well, the king, what could the king do? The wood carrier went free. The king spoke to the cobbler. "Do you know who I am?" "I am the beggar that came to your house these last evenings." "Oh, your majesty," said the cobbler, you are the beggar?" "Yes, I recognize your face, but why? Oh, please, my king." "You," said the king, "have taught me something important. You are an optimist. I ask you to become my advisor, to help me with every decision in this land. I believe that if you advise me, I will have faith that all will be well." And all was well. So this is a story from Afghanistan. The story is called, what do you think?
Wooden sword.
Sword.
The Wooden Sword. But I didn't tell you the name of the story at the beginning because I didn't want to give away the end of the story. The Wooden Sword. Isn't it a beautiful story? And it's not so different from your endings. Did anybody have a very similar ending to the ending that I told? Who had a very similar ending? Okay. The cobbler became the king's advisor. Why did the king choose him to be his advisor? Why? Anka?
Well, the king wanted the cobbler to be his advisor because cobbler was always positive. He was happy. He believed in himself. He just wanted everybody to be happy. So the cobbler probably, I think, he did accepted to be his advisor, and king wanted just because he know he will be better king when the cobbler will be with him because
Thank you. Yes.
was
That's wonderful.
David,
It's a lovely. You put that so beautifully, Anka. Is there another?
David, no,
Yes,
David,
Elizabeth.
I'm sorry. I must leave. Thank you for everything.
Okay, thank you for coming. Yes, we need to finish. We'll finish in 2 minutes, Elizabeth. Okay, but thank
Yeah,
you for
but
coming.
I have
All
a
right.
meeting.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you for
much.
coming, Elizabeth. Thank
Okay.
you.
bye.
So we'll just have
Bye.
two more minutes, everybody. Anka said something very interesting. Would another student like to say something about the story? Vuk, what would you like to say?
Yeah. That story was so good. Was so. I want to say it's totally different of my story. What I said.
Because your story was a little bit pessimistic, wasn't it? That they all regretted what they didn't take from the darkness.
Yeah, it was like your ending.
Your story it's about good side of humanity or humans, but mine is about pure
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
of the human.
Moam, what did you want to say?
I wanted to ask a question. The previous, who's the bad guy here?
Ah, yes. So what do you think is the answer to that question, Moam?
First, I think it's no one, but kinda I think it's the king because
I also think it's
unsure.
Do you
He
think
was unsure about his people.
do you think the king really wanted anybody to be killed?
No,
No.
You think he was just it was part of the test, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think the king has changed in this story? Do you think
Yeah.
the king changes?
Yes.
At the
Yes.
beginning of the story, what's the king like at the beginning?
Kind of. How can I say this? He's kind of unsure about the other people.
And also he's very worried, isn't he, about what will happen.
Yeah.
With he's always frightened about the future. So he's quite
He
pessimistic.
didn't know what other people was talking about him.
Yes. He doesn't know what other people are saying. He doesn't trust people. He thinks maybe they'll rise up against him. Perhaps they'll take his crown. Perhaps there'll be a plague. During the coronavirus, a lot of the news that we hear on the television, on the radio, on the internet, it's very worrying. I don't know about you, but for me, I watch the news and I get worried about what's happening now and about what's happening in the future. I would like to say I have faith all will be well. Sometimes I feel positive. A lot of the time I worry. But I think this story can help us to look at things from different ways, look at things from different perspectives. At the beginning of this lesson, I asked you, are you feeling optimistic or pessimistic? I hope this story offers you some kind of optimism, some kind of hope. That even though we're going through difficult times in the world, and some of us might experience difficulty and loss, there will be a time when we'll look back and we'll think, well, that time has passed, and we can look forward to something easier, something more positive. And hopefully we can learn something from this whole experience of this global pandemic. Maybe we can work together more positively in the future. And when I'm together with you, young people from Ecuador, from Nepal, from Palestine, from Serbia,
Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Bosnia Herzegovina. When I'm with you, I have so much hope for the future, because it's you that are the future. And with you, as citizens of the globe, when you get older, I have faith all will be well.
All will be well.
So with that, I say thank you all. Thank you for joining us this week.
No problem.
There'll be another session at the same time next week. If so, some of you, I might see you next week. This week,
I think